I heard they're changing my voice, and they actually expect you to believe that an arrogant, rich Prince Humperdinck, Lex Luthor, Magneto type, okay, or their controlled opposition, King Arthur, King Richard, kind of fake theater personality types, okay, propaganda types. They expect you to believe that that is superior to the sabotaged hero, even though Jesus is on a cross in popular culture more often than not, and not dressed in some kind of fancy outfit. It even says in the Bible, when Jesus was talking about John the Baptist, he said to his followers, John the Baptist's followers, he said, "Did you come to see someone in fancy clothes and stuff like that?" He said, "No, they're in palaces. You came to see something better than that, right? A prophet." Okay? Righteousness is greater than wealth and appearances, etc. It also says in the Bible, why do you judge by mere appearances? Stop judging by mere appearances. Instead, judge correctly. Judge that I'm the top martial artist. That is judging correctly. Stop judging by mere human rules, customs, traditions, and appearances after they use technology to keep me from dressing the way I want to. And it goes so deep that today I wore a yellow hooded sweater, and it caused me pain, and it caused me some brain pain, and there was some kind of static electricity type of thing, some kind of powdery substance on my skin afterwards. Even though I had washed that sweater, I think I have it written down, it's like 70 times or something before putting it on the first time. And that's what I have to do with new clothes. And it still takes its toll on me. And usually after a while, after wearing it like 10 times, I can start to kind of wear it. And it's usually worn down, looking scuzzy, and so on and so forth. Okay, and that's this kind of Jim Crow game that they're playing, right? Jim Crow, the character, right? Jim Crow laws, Jim Crow character. It's kind of racist. Well, all American history is basically racist, especially now, but it was this kind of Jewish looking, it's like this poor white Jewish kind of looking guy who was mocking another description of Jim Crow, which is a black guy, and trying to have him dress like a scarecrow or something, okay? And that goes back to, the Crow, right? Brandon Lee, because everyone knows Africans are the greatest warriors, right? Black Africans, and so there's like this conspiracy in the world to, have English arrogant people, cavalry, English cavalry, yes, Her Majesty's forces, and American propaganda, and then all the Eastern martial arts. The Islanders kind of tread lightly, but they do a little something, the capoeiras who are loud versus the ones who are screened out. There's this massive kind of, propaganda system to cheat the most proficient of the black African martial artists until after I'm gone, there will be none in reality. There'll just be people, riding the wave, okay? And no one should reproduce regardless of what race. But, I can't imagine anyone's going to be proud to be their race after what they've done to black people, after they've teamed up with globalists and nationalists and all these people who are mere worldly people who are quick to pounce on ill-gotten gains and leverage evil cultures to get any trick chicks they can, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's look at how that clashes with Psalm 19, okay, the Psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech, they use no words, no sound is heard from them. Yet their voice, or measuring line, goes out into all the earth, their words to the ends of the world. In the heavens God has pitched a tent for the sun. It is like a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, like a champion rejoicing to run his course. It rises at one end of the heavens and makes its circuit to the other. Nothing is deprived of its warmth. So the world is meant to fall in line, okay, with me, because the sun is like a bridegroom, right? The ideal man, the ideal husband. Okay, we'll get into Songs of Songs, aka Songs of Solomon, in another video, where it's gonna elaborate on that, and you're gonna see the mark of the beast, the arrogant rich person. What comes to mind when you live in America the most, I think, is the English. We don't really know that much about your French royalty or any other European royalty, or even English royalty in Wales. We don't really know that much about that. Even the people who read all about King Charles and Prince Harry and William, they don't really know much about these people. Okay, I don't know much about them either. Okay, I even did some research into, you know, their history, the House of Wessex. I printed out some stuff. I don't really know that much about them, but I know enough to know that they're embracing ill-gotten gains, embracing neo-colonial ill-gotten gains. Okay, so that's why I use them as an example so often. And of course, you know, whenever you see something that like pisses you off, that like seems to embody the opposition view, Satan means adversary, right? So who is the bridegroom? Is this rich, you know, over publicized European kind of spoiled brats when they're older, or is it the true martial art hero? Okay, like it says in the Bible, you know, woe to you when all men speak well of you, because that's how their ancestors spoke of the false prophets. And that wasn't the only time Jesus spoke about ancestors. You know, he said, you people testified against yourself that you are the descendants of those who killed the prophets. Because he was talking about how they said, okay, when you decorate the prophets' tombs and you say that if you lived in your ancestors' day that you wouldn't have, you know, participated in screening out the prophets. Okay, we see all these whites, Jews, and LGBT people, all these token minorities, all these people from every race, led by those three groups, white, Jews, and LGBT, and they're screening me out, and they're harassing me, and they're using technology every single day, and they play stupid about gang stalking, even though they had many, many, many gang stalking complaints on YouTube, letters, reports. It was even covered by Vice News, and they still play stupid. So it's an extremely calculated event. America's extremely complicit with that event. Very, very disgraceful. And right there, the word gang stalking is gang stalking, right? It's a play on words from that and a bunch of other things that are despicable. So again, it says their voice, right? The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. They use no words. No sound is heard from them. Yet their voice or measuring line, right? The Bible says the Lord detests dishonest scales, but accurate weights find favor with him. Okay, so the measuring line of the heavens, the stars, the sun, right, you know, goes out into the world. Okay, goes out into all the earth. Their words to the end of the earth, the end of the world. In the heavens, God has pitched a tent for the sun. It is like a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, like a champion rejoicing to run his course. In Psalm 18, we just went over it in the last videos. Okay, it goes on and on and on about martial art victories, right? Martial arts, again, I mean, you know, because semantics is a problem. Wordplay is a problem, okay? What I mean by martial arts is Royal African Falcon martial arts, right? It's martial arts in reality, not theater show, not breaking bricks, not circus martial arts, not UFC fighting, not Olympics, not military, you know, hand-to-hand combat, you know, practitioners and skills, but, you know, actual Royal African Falcon, top martial arts, mind, body, soul, and spirit, skills and kills, right? Making a point in regards to how to use your spirit, to use your mind, body, soul, and spirit to outmaneuver someone else, to outman them, outman them, to man, okay, making a point sparring, point of life, point of sparring, point of doing the right thing, point of love, martial and marital, martial to order, the point of being in an order or formation, the point of having your form instead of doing it someone else's way, and so on and so forth. Okay, so a champion, a bridegroom, right? Martial and marital, the bridge room, the bridegroom, right? Martial and marital, right? Marital is martial scrambled, the bridegroom. Okay, pretty straightforward. Again, proof. Pro of what? Martial arts. Martial is marital. Martial arts, M.A. Backwards is M. God revealed himself to Moses as I am who I am that I am what I will be. So even as a child, as society was mistreating me to a certain degree, and of course they're often regretting it, and ultimately they'll regret it forever because they're bad paths that their forefathers and foremothers put them on. Okay, I was already Christ, because I was destined to be the top martial arts ever possible, and no one could ever outdo me because of tech breeding and ill-gotten gains. They're all disqualified after I die, and no one came close to me leading up to, you know, no one in human history came close to me. Okay. You say, well, how do you know? Well, how do I know that no turtle was ever faster than me at a foot race? How do I know, you know, that no fly was ever taller than me? You see what I'm saying? Because there's a limit to that spectrum, and it's also in my heart and soul and in my spiritual memory. Okay. It rises at one end of the heavens and makes its circuit to the others. Nothing is deprived of its warmth. The law of the Lord is perfect, refreshing the soul. The statutes of the Lord are trustworthy, making wise the simple. So again, making wise. Who's more wise than the champion? And what champion? The martial art champion. Look at the last chapter, how it ends, right? This is Psalm 19, Psalm 18. I went over in the other videos. Psalm 18:50. Or rather, let's go to 48. Who saves me from my enemies? You exalted me above my foes. From a violent man you rescued me, right? He's talking about his soul, okay? Therefore I will praise you, Lord. Among the nations I will sing praises of your name. He gives his kings great victories. He shows unfailing love to his anointed, to David and his descendants forever. Okay, he talks about how God is his strength. With his help, he can advance against a troop. He beat his enemies as fine as windblown dust. We're talking about a martial art champion, right? Remember, Proverbs 34, who holds the wind in his fists, right? Beat him as fine as windblown dust, right? The storm of the Lord, the whirlwind swirling down on the heads of the wicked. Jeremiah 23:19. See, the storm of the Lord will burst out in wrath, a whirlwind swirling down on the heads of the wicked. Okay, and Isaiah 30, again, his breath is like a rushing torrent, rising up to the neck. He shakes the nations in the sieve of destruction. Okay, and again, he's striking them like cloudburst, right? Verse 30, okay? His arm coming down with raging anger and consuming fire, with cloudburst, thunderstorm, and hail, right? The thing about the winds and the storm, okay? And again, he's striking them. And he goes on to overkill that, right? The voice of the Lord will shatter Assyria with his rod. He will strike them down. Every stroke the Lord lays on them with his punishing club will be to the music of timbrels and harps as he fights them in battle with the blows of his arm. Okay. Let's just finish this and wrap this up. Okay. This chapter is short. The law of the Lord is perfect, refreshing the soul. The statutes of the Lord are trustworthy, making wise the simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, giving joy to the heart. The commands of the Lord are radiant, giving light to the eyes. Right? Following commands gives light to the eyes. Otherwise, you're like the blind, right? The fear of the Lord is pure, enduring forever. The decrees of the Lord are firm, and all of them righteous. They are more precious than gold, than much pure gold. They are sweeter than honey from the honeycomb. By them your servant is warned, in keeping them there is great reward. But who can discern their own errors? Forgive my hidden faults. Keep your servant also from willful sins, that they may not rule over me. Then I will be blameless, innocent of great transgression. May these words of my mouth and this meditation of my heart be pleasing in your sight, Lord, my rock and redeemer. So if you want to understand the honey more, okay, honey's being compared to wisdom in Proverbs. Okay, the decrees, okay, here are being compared to being, compared to gold. They're more precious than gold, much pure gold. Okay, so there's a lot of these comparisons going on. Okay, so the decrees aren't literally gold, right? It's not that you have a bunch of gold and you're keeping the decrees. I can't stress this enough, because one of my key points is that Jesus, which is who's superimposed on me, doesn't literally come back in a literal cloud, standing on it or floating in it. Okay, this is key here. Because when people say, you say that you're Jesus, or that the idea of Jesus is superimposed on you, okay? And I say, yes, that is correct. They say, well, walk on water. Well, I say, that's not literal. The Bible is full of figurative stuff, right? Honey is compared to wisdom, it's like the saying, the heart of gold, right? And the decrees are compared to gold. Wisdom's is said to be better than gold. Insight better than silver, okay? There's tons, he says, take this bread, right, mass, right? He says, eat this bread, and it's my flesh. Is the bread literally his flesh? He want you to eat his body? No. He says, drink this wine, and it's the blood that I shed for you. Is it literally his blood? No. It's full of these things, back to back to back, right? He turns water into wine. So when it says he walked on water, it's just another figurative form of figurative speech. They did that on purpose, because they wanted to create the situation, because they're sages, right? They're scribes and mages. They're occultists. They wanted to create the situation where they could do a magic trick and say that they're blessed by God, right? The false images that appear on churches and stuff, and little girls who say they saw Jesus's apparition in water. They wanted to be able to say that they did some magic trick and that they're Jesus, right? They want to be able to trick you with a magic trick. So when somebody was saying, hey, they're referring to martial arts, see Proverbs 34, see Psalm 18, see Psalm 19, right? The son is being compared to the bridegroom. The son isn't the bridegroom. And, they wanted to try to play me out as crazy. These are people who say, blasphemy! You know, just like they said in the book, say, if you're the Son of God, take yourself off that cross. But that's not what he's supposed to be able to do.